is there like a brief, or am I gonna get like?
It's gonna be super easy.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. Mike Agerbo here. I've got my fellow nerds, John Biehler and AJ Vickery, in studio with me today. We've got a cool show. We will be talking with the folks at Nextdoor. This is a new app for neighborhoods. It's hyper-local. It'll actually connect you with your neighbors. Hopefully you want to know your neighbors or like your neighbors, but it's got some really cool features if you need to find a babysitter or someone to walk your dog, or concerned about maybe the break-ins in the neighborhood. It's an app where you can talk with the people that are close to you. It's pretty cool.
Should we be using it?
I signed up. It's neat.
I like the idea just even for a strata building, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. But we're going to be talking with the folks behind it, and you can decide for yourself whether you want to sign up or not. It's free. We will also be talking about the U.S. border. There have been a lot of searches on people's electronic devices, their phones, their laptops. I guess the U.S. border people are looking for child porn or whatever.
Marijuana.
On your laptop?
Well, it's just
what
like,
do you keep in your laptop?
not in the laptop, but you know, like whether or not you're involved in any companies that are basically selling marijuana. There's some strange stuff going on at the borders.
There is. There's been a lot of stories. So what's interesting now, though, is a federal court in Boston has ruled that warrantless U.S. government searches of phones and laptops of international travelers at airports and the border violate the Fourth Amendment.
Yay.
Yay.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. Well, we'll be talking all about that and what that means and how you can actually protect yourself as well. Lots of stuff in the news tech-wise this week. I think the big one, and it's been all over the news, is Disney Plus.
Yes.
They have entered the streaming wars. I'm going to call them the wars because it's going to heat up. And have you had a chance? You've had a chance, both of you.
Yes.
I know you signed up for Disney
I literally
Plus.
took the day off to watch Star Wars.
Oh, I love it.
He works for us.
Oh, yeah. Still love it.
I watched it twice.
I am claiming to be the first person in Western Canada to have actually logged in and successfully watched a show.
We can't prove that in any way, but
because you know how it crashed, right?
Yes,
it crashed.
It was
in the
so
morning.
popular,
yeah, and no one could basically watch any content. Well, I found a way to sort of navigate through the crash to get to some content. And the first show I watched, try to guess it.
Star Wars?
Bambi.
Oh, it was close.
So you got up early in the morning, worked your way through the crash to watch Bambi.
Yeah, because try to find Bambi it's in the vault. You can't find it anywhere.
How old are you?
It's a classic. It's a classic.
Did you cry?
I got sad. There's no question.
So it's interesting. A lot of companies are coming out with streaming services. We saw Apple the week before launch Apple TV Plus. Now Disney's in the game, but Disney's got a pretty extensive catalog.
It is shocking how much content they have.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
because they own everyone now.
Well, yeah, because I could just keep buying up all these properties. Like they have 500 movies at launch.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, a lot of the good vault ones. There's stuff in there I hadn't seen since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because, who's got the VHS tape player of that?
No, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But they have 7,500 TV shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing because you look at Apple's launch, Apple TV Plus, and I'm excited because more competition means more shows. And some of them are good. The Morning Show with Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston. There was also, I think, All Mankind.
For All Mankind.
For All Mankind. Love it. But they don't own any studios.
No.
It's just them pouring money into making their own original content. So they don't have a large library.
Can I say something about Disney, just to go back to it? The app interface, excellent.
Yes.
Like, thank you for not screwing that up. Because it's...
When you could connect to it, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Okay, they may not have had the number of servers they needed in order to...
I will say I didn't have a problem. I used my Apple TV 4K to connect to it.
Yeah.
And everything was beautiful. It was the highest quality version of Star Wars. Like the whole back catalog is there.
Yeah.
And
but the navigation to shows how they sort of put things in recommend. Like even going to Star Wars, I like the way they lined up the view order, so you could actually they actually lined it up in sequence of release of the movie. So you could actually,
But they also had collections.
Yes.
The same list.
Yeah.
Just different order because it's the Vader collection.
Yeah, I love that.
Or the villains collection or whatever, know. So
yeah.
So you were happy.
I just feel like when they get the app right, it's so great. You know, because I've seen lots of companies that have come out with these things where the app just isn't. I'm not going to pick on anyone, but where things don't work that well. Well, I'm going to pick on them. The companies that basically are cable providers.
The interesting thing though with Apple, or Apple gave it away, right, with the purchase of a device.
Yeah.
For Apple TV Plus,
Yeah. But with Disney, they had a monthly fee.
Yeah.
It's $8.99.
Yeah.
Or for $89, you can get a year.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
But do you use Rakuten?
Well, I know. I got that.
Everybody signed up for it, signed up for Disney Plus, and then we found out there was a big discount if you use Rakuten.
Yeah.
You get
What is
12
Rakuten?
Rakuten's, it used to be called Ebates. So you log into the service. It's like an affiliate link, and you do your shopping through it, and they give you
And
a
we
cashback.
use that. I use that for other sites. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can actually get $12.50 off of the price of Disney Plus
For the year.
For the year.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys got screwed.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just created another account.
But did you already pay the 89?
No, because it was on a free trial,
Oh.
which just started yesterday.
Wait a minute, AJ.
What?
Maybe you can go back.
Thanks, John. I'll buy you a $5 coffee.
Okay.
Split the.
Also in the news, new MacBook announced from Apple this week, a 16-inch version, one of the larger MacBooks that have been out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've had a 17.
They
as
had
well.
a 17-inch, yeah, which
But
was
I
huge.
think a lot of people have been waiting for this large screen. They've improved the keyboard as well. Is this a big change, John?
No.
No.
Well, I mean, it's good. It's a nicer size screen, I think, for some people. I actually opted for a 13-inch last time I upgraded, and I downsized from a 15-inch. But now, as we're getting older,
Well,
we want a bigger screen.
yeah, Phil Schiller was quoted to say that the inspiration for the keyboard, that's Apple's marketing CMO, said that the inspiration was the Magic Keyboard in
Okay.
terms of the sort of upgrade there with the keys that sort of are raised, because a lot of people have been down on the
The butterfly.
butterfly.
Yeah.
But they've also got quite a bit of extended battery life as well. They're saying 11 hours.
It's pretty good
Yeah.
for a
For-
16-inch.
Yeah, that's very good for
Yeah.
a giant
And
screen.
a big investment in the speakers as well. So some pretty awesome surround sound.
But it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
The fully loaded version is about 6,000. I think it's US.
What?
Yeah,
$6,000?
yeah. But that's with
is it like gold? plated?
no, it's just full of RAM and hard drive space.
Well, for professionals,
Yeah,
it's worth it.
yeah.
Quickly as well, if you are a Sonos speaker owner, a lot of people have the multi-room Sonos speaker system in their home. Now you'll be able to use the free version of Spotify as a streaming service
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, I subscribe to Spotify just for the reason of Sonos.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
But now you don't have to subscribe to Spotify. You can use a free
I know.
version.
I know.
Well, you don't get all the features. Also, big deals on Sonos stuff coming up for Black Friday. 20% off most of their speakers.
Hmm.
I find it interesting with Sonos because I was kind of wondering what was going to happen with all the smart speakers.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've stuck it out and they're doing well.
Yeah, they just work.
Yeah.
They're like the Apple of speakers.
Mhm.
Okay, we're going to have to take a break.
Not the AirPod.
No. When we come back from the break, we'll be talking with the folks at Nextdoor. This is a new app that gets you connected with your neighbors and your neighborhood. And later in the program, are you worried about getting searched at the US, having the border guards look through your phone, your iPhone, or your laptop? Well, there may be some good news. Your neighbors, do you know many of them? How would you like to get to know them better in a good way? Well, there's an app for that. In studio, I've got Christopher Doyle. He's the country manager for the Nextdoor app. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Nextdoor. I had never heard of this, but I downloaded it and I'm very intrigued. Give the listeners a Reader's Digest version of what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. So we just launched here in Canada in September. So Nextdoor is the trusted local app for your neighborhood. So this is really the place where we like to say like proximity over preference, right? So it's like get to know the people in your immediate community. So this is a place where events are organized in your local neighborhood. It's a place where you're going to help people find lost pets. It's a big use case for Nextdoor, and all that comes with your local community. So it really is kind of to get connected to your local neighborhood. And as you said, how many people really know their neighbors? We actually found with some research that at least 40% of Canadians only know one or two neighbors really well. So that means they don't know a lot of the people on their street. And we believe that, communities are a lot healthier when you do know those neighbors. So this is what that's going to do. Nextdoor is going to connect you your neighbors.
So it's kind of hyper local.
Hyper local.
So how would this differ than Facebook? They've got like communities and stuff that people form.
Yeah, it's a great question. So Nextdoor is really, first of all, built on trust. So it's about real people at real addresses. So, I like to say sort of in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of talk about, hyper fast growth for different platforms. At Nextdoor, on purpose, there's a lot of friction into the onboarding process. And what that means is we go out of our way to make sure that you are who you say you are. So make sure that you do live at the address that you say at, and most times you're using your real name all the time on Nextdoor. So what this really does is it helps people be a better version of themselves online when you are who you say you are. So it encourages more healthier conversations and really more empathy as well. So I think that's one of the big differences. The other difference is it's hyper local. So because it's so trusted, you're really going to get the people in your direct neighborhood. It's going to connect you to local services and businesses, recommendations. So it really is sort of by neighbors for neighbors, right in your immediate location. And it's really like we say this term sort of proximity over preference. So, some other platforms, it might be people that you already know, so friends or a network or relatives that you already have, but this is really about connecting to the people that live closest to you, whether or not you know them or not. And that's just going to make healthier communities at the end of the day.
So walk me through how people get signed up for this. It's an app available for Android and the iPhone. What do people do once they've downloaded it?
Yeah, so definitely download the app. You can also go to nextdoor.ca and go through the onboarding process there. So when you're at home and you download the app, you sign up, and basically you're joining your neighborhood, your community. What's really, really interesting about it is that you can post into nearby neighborhoods, so sort of a wider area, or you can post just to your neighborhood. So you're going to see all kinds of posts. And like I said, sort of in the early days, what we're seeing, I know in my neighborhood, is a lot of people asking for local recommendations. So does anyone recommend a good plumber? Or, back east, does anyone recommend someone for snow removal? Getting a lot of that recently. Also the place for lost pets. Can people help me find my lost cat?
What if I don't want to find my cat? Can I post that?
You've mentioned this before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also the place to share stuff like that. So I think it's really also just a place where we find people who are new to the neighborhood, and a lot of times new Canadians. It's a great way for them to get connected to really what's at the heart of their neighborhood. So you also see people organizing around events. So Nextdoor is also really the platform where you're going to encourage not online, but offline connections. So it's actually, we're going to meet in person. Let's have an event. A lot of neighborhood organization happens on Nextdoor, essentially, which we love. In the early days of Nextdoor Canada, a lot of these real life interactions that have been really inspiring have been happening, which is amazing to see.
So I signed up for it,
Yeah.
and already I see there's like 7 people in my neighborhood, which is cool. But throughout the onboarding or the sign up process, it continually asks me to invite other neighbors. What if I don't really know their phone numbers or email addresses?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's you don't need to know their email addresses necessarily. You can also invite people, and the way that many Canadians are doing is just sending like friendly neighborly invites through the mail. So you can invite them and tell them that there's this new local platform and there's a code for them to sign up. And we've actually seen Canadians respond incredibly well to this. Probably, I think, one of the highest rates around the world in terms of just accepting these invitations. And some of the feedback that I've got is that why people are signing up is like, it just feels like a community-based thing. It's just like, and also I think there's this, as we said earlier, there's this yearning sort of to connect with my neighbors. It's like, these are the things that really matter to me that are happening in my community. And we might be more connected than ever before to global issues and, wider interests across the country, but are we really connected to the things that matter in our neighborhood? So that's why the response so far has been so great.
I could see this being a great thing for security as well. Like neighbors kind of keeping check on each other if there's any break-ins or anything like that.
Yeah, and I've seen that in my neighborhood too, just sort of like friendly reminders that there was some break-ins in an adjacent neighborhood, and it's a great way for people to kind of just give tips around safety. It's also really amazing in times of need, so for an emergency situation, and we find that it's like a really quick way to kind of check on each other too in the neighborhood. So there's really that benefit as well. There's an emergency type of weather situation.
How big are the neighborhoods? And who figures that out? Is that you? Do you start drawing lines on a map?
Well, it's a great question. We actually worked with mapping experts who actually helped design the neighborhoods for Canada. And one of the things they told me, which is really interesting, is that they have to be big enough so that if I am looking for a trusted recommendation around, a plumber or a piano teacher for my child, that there's that available, but also small enough so that it feels local. So, and also the neighbors are a big part of, in the early days, defining what those boundaries are. So you may see when you join Nextdoor, you may see your neighborhood, and we've done this in a couple cases, and you might say, hey, that doesn't quite feel right to me. It should be bigger or smaller. Like, give us that feedback, and we're constantly taking in that feedback and sort of reshaping the boundaries to make sure that they're real and they're local. That's what we're all about. So.
I see you can also sell stuff as well. Mm-hmm. Like, so if I got to get rid of the kids' old bikes.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a section called For Sale and Free. And essentially this is like the digital version of leaving something out on your walkway or leaving something at the curb, right? Yeah. So we've actually seen it work incredibly well. And I know like a lot of the feedback we're getting from people too is like, yeah, there are other places where I can do that, but they're not hyper local, or I'm getting a lot of people from far away from where I live.
Yeah,
right?
and people don't feel as safe. Like with Craigslist, for example, people don't always feel safe having a stranger come in. Whereas, I guess if it was a neighbor, you probably feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah, very much similar to like a garage sale type experience. Yeah. And so we see that as another big use case for Nextdoor.
How do you guys make money?
Well, in Canada, it's all about community at this moment. Yeah. So there's no...
Then bam, it's $50 for the app.
No, completely free to use. Yeah. You won't see any ads on the platform. In other markets in the US and around the world, there are specific products that are very relevant and related to the community.
Maybe a local restaurant ad or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. There are local deals. There's a specific real estate product. So, and what I would say too is that it's not a place just to run sort of like blind advertisements. It has to be neighborly and community oriented. So it has to be the right contextual fit to the platform. But at this stage in Canada, we're really just about building that community initially. So.
We're talking with Christopher Doyle. He's the country manager for Nextdoor. It's a new app that gets you connected with your neighbors, kind of like Facebook, but even more hyper local, which I think is pretty cool. And again, free to download.
Free to download. Nextdoor in the App Store. Please check it out. Download it, or nextdoor.ca is the place to find us.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
We still have lots to talk about on today's program. Coming up in a bit, we'll be talking about the U.S. border and having them search your iPhones and laptops. Well, the U.S. judge has said that that is wrong. And we'll explain what that's all about. Right now, though, I want to talk sneaker technology. We've got a great guest from Vessi. His name is Tony Yu. Thanks for coming into the studio.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
We've been big fans of your shoes. You're a Canadian company. You're here in Vancouver. And what I love about your sneaker line, especially for Canada, especially for Vancouver, is that they're cool looking and they're also waterproof as well.
Yeah, 100% waterproof, breathable. So you can actually wear this in the winter, in the snow, the slush, the mud. But then when it comes to summertime, it breathes. So it lets the heat wick and the sweat wick out from the shoe.
What was your inspiration behind this? Just being a Canadian?
Yeah, I mean, so there's three of us as co-founders, and the three of us kind of came together. Andy initially had this idea with this technology. We all traveled a lot, so it was really like, what is this one comfortable shoe that we could pack for the trip and not have to switch out in and out of these shoes, but still stay protected from Chicago weather, New York weather, or Vancouver where it's sunny in the morning and then it's raining or snowing in the afternoon, right? So,
well, it's interesting. I first got a chance to try some of these out at the beginning of the year on my European trip. I went to a bunch of different countries and I packed a pair of Vessis, and they were the best thing ever because, like you said, they're waterproof and they're super light as well. So if you are traveling, these things pack really nicely.
Yeah, they're actually the lightest waterproof shoes in the world from what we've seen. Our small size is actually lighter than an iPhone. So
Really?
when you slip it on,
That's hilarious.
it'll feel like a sock, but after a while, you'll forget you were actually wearing anything. So, I mean, like, how does it feel on your feet right now?
Oh, they're my favorite shoes. I think I wear them too much actually because they're just so comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, they breathe as well. A lot of things that are waterproof, like rubber boots, they don't breathe. But these here, my feet never get hot, even in the summertime.
Yeah, I mean, like part of that inspiration behind creating was like, I mean, waterproof shoes exist on the market, like in the form of boots or hiking shoes, but they're very rigid, and they're not really that breathable. So creating something that felt like your Nike Flyknits, or felt like any other knit shoe, super lightweight, really comfortable, was like, how could we make that additionally waterproof and stretchy and breathable at the same time? So we created it. The market loves it. So yeah.
Well, another interesting component of all of this, besides cool-looking waterproof sneakers / shoes, I mean, you sell these all online as well,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird because you think with shoes you got to try them on, in a store to make sure that they fit, but you don't have that. You're basically just give us your size and we'll send you the shoes. How's that been? Has that worked?
Surprisingly, has worked really well. So part of the construction of the shoes is we only do full sizes because we've designed the shoe to mold to your foot. So if you're in between sizes, you're half size, it'll actually still form to your foot. So if you're size 9,
Yes.
9.5 sometimes.
Actually 8.5, 9.
8.5, 9. So
Yep.
a 9 would fit you perfectly. So molding to your foot, the midsole molds the contour of your foot, and then the upper, which is this top part of the shoe, because it's like a sock, it'll form and then at the same time give you the right support. So
What have been some of the challenges then selling online? Like, because most places you just do a deal with some shoe stores and start sending them shoes, right? But what are some of the challenges just doing it direct?
Yeah, I mean, that's the tricky part. Is our shoe is like, you need to try it on before you get a sense of like how unique they actually are.
Yeah.
Just looking at them on the shelf, they're designed to look like a regular sneaker, but it's that experience of putting it on, which is tricky. So how do we convey that online? Well, we have a 60-day try on, free shipping, free returns policy that gives people the ability to try on a few different styles, bring them home, slip them on, wear them inside the house. Don't wear them outside because then, I mean, that's bad for business for us.
Yeah.
But get a sense of like if you like the shoes, and I mean, free shipping, free returns, all on us. Yeah.
We're talking with Tony Yu from Vessi Footwear. What's the website address again?
Yeah. So it's VESSI and then FOOTWEAR. So footwear.com.
VessiFootwear.com. If you haven't seen these things yet, they are amazing. I've been wearing them, almost a year now, and I love them. They've got a number of different styles, and they're waterproof, perfect for Canada. Let's talk about the U.S. border. They've been handing out bans like been going out of style. It's kind of a crazy time. Well, one of the concerns that myself and many others have are digital devices when we cross the border. It hasn't happened to me, but many people have had their devices taken by the Border Patrol as you cross into the U.S. to be searched. So they could take your iPhone or your laptop and go through it to see if there's any illegal things happening, whether that's illegal counterfeit films, TV shows, child porn, or evidence of other misdealings. Well, good news, and we'll talk about this. A federal court in Boston has ruled that warrantless U.S. government searches of phones and laptops of international travelers, that's us, violate the Fourth Amendment. So illegal. They have to have cause. Do you think this will change anything?
I'm going to be claiming the Fourth Amendment when I'm.
That's when the rubber glove
Here's your
comes.
ban. Here's your ban.
That's when the rubber glove comes out.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you hope so, but it's just a question of whether or not those particular border agents get the memo. right? Because that's the problem. I mean, they're just doing their job, and it's all about interpretation of the law and whether they perceive you to be a threat. So it all comes down to how that conversation goes when you have that with them as you're crossing the border, whether it's flying or driving, what have you. And I have never had it happen, but I certainly have had people. I know I have a number of friends that haven't been to the US since the Trump administration because they're concerned about this stuff. And they're not even bad people. They're not doing anything bad. They just don't like the idea of the invasion of privacy that something like that unwarranted search would bring with it.
Well, according to a news report from NBC, the U.S. District Judge named Denise Casper in Boston ruled in a lawsuit brought on by 11 travelers that border guards need to be able to point to specific facts to justify searching someone's devices for contraband.
Yeah, I think at a high level, if the message gets out, to your point, and that this has been told to all the different sort of border crossing areas, whether the airports or actual physical drive-throughs or whatever, ports, you name it, that to back off this particular activity, that's one thing. Trying to claim any sort of Fourth Amendment or whatever when you're at the border in the process, when they're trying to ask to see your device, you're on a downhill road. You're just, I'm telling you.
Yeah, don't.
You're just.
Well, but quite often though, some people are, business travelers, they might have confidential information or they're a lawyer or something like that. And you can't just let any random border guard look through your stuff because who knows what's in there and, confidential, business stuff, that kind of thing. That can be very scary. And a lot of people will actually have like a work laptop and then a burner laptop when they're traveling. Right. And so they don't have any of that sensitive information on there. But hopefully this change means that we can get back to sort of traveling normally across the North American borders that we know and love.
I don't know. It's still tricky. I'm reading all these news reports now of guys and gals getting these 5-year bans for not really doing much of anything. And especially when it comes around things like cannabis, if they can figure out that you even work remotely in the industry somehow, not a good thing. And, you don't want to go across the border lying either. No. But, you got to be careful. Don't volunteer information.
Yeah, no, I think it's unfortunately there's no clear understand. I've actually had conversations with immigration lawyers and asking them questions about sort of some of these things. And they said, unfortunately, there's really no clear defined rules for what they can or cannot do in some of this gray area. And so that's basically just defaulted to if you have any control over anything, don't do it. Don't bring the device with you. Not that you're going to do that, but
yeah.
So, for the listeners, when it comes to their digital devices, what's some advice? Don't put private information on there that you don't want people looking through because that could potentially happen.
Yeah, well, a lot of times people will talk about, I'm going to just uninstall Facebook, for example, because I don't want to give them my Facebook password. I don't have it. That's what they'll claim at the border. But, the border people aren't dumb
They're
either.
not stupid.
They're going to just type in your name in Facebook and they're going to see the photo of you, getting ready to go to the airport with your luggage, and they're going to connect the dots, right? And they're going to force you to unlock that if there's a perceived reason to. But I think, like you said, Mike, I think it's just basically common sense. If you have sensitive stuff that shouldn't be viewed by somebody else, take it off your device. If there's a concern about, copyright material or any reason for them to want to look at your device, just make sure it's not on your devices.
I guess that could even be illegally downloaded TV shows and movies.
Right.
That's kind of scary.
It is scary.
Because a lot of people do that.
Yes.
When we come back from the break, we will be talking more tech. We'll be getting our Alexa skill of the week from John. So if you're one of the Amazon Echo speaker owners or have a device that has Amazon Alexa built in, and what doesn't nowadays, we've got a skill for you. We're going to get to our Amazon Alexa skill of the week. And it's kind of funny. I have Alexa everywhere now. It's getting a little crazy because, originally I had the little Amazon Echo speakers and the dots, but all these connected devices you're buying now, they've got Amazon Alexa built into it. So like my thermostat has it built in. My new light switches have it built in. My Sonos speaker has it built in. So it's I have to be careful. I have to shut off the Alexa feature in a lot of these because they all start going insane when you call for Alexa now.
Oh.
Like in my family room, there's literally 5 different devices that could answer.
Wow.
I was wondering how you manage that because I actually had to separate a couple speakers that were on the same floor, but close enough together that every once in a while the other one would get triggered or the wrong one would get triggered. And I don't want to change the wake word on different ones because then I got to remember what room am I in, what do I have to say, that kind of thing.
You know what the most powerful one is? And it's actually in the kitchen, is I've got a Sonos Play 1 that has Alexa built into it. And it hears the wake word better than anything that's even 5 feet away from me.
I have the original Echo Dot, like version 1, in my main bathroom so that, you know, when people are in the tub or whatever, they can have music playing and stuff. And
you can listen to them.
well, when I say people, I
You
mean me.
weirdo.
But that one's probably the most remote one in my whole house, and I can literally trigger it from my garage. Like it's so sensitive to, like I think the original one had a lot of microphones in it or something like that, like a lot more powerful microphones.
Oh, I see.
And maybe they cheapened out on the later models, but it picks up everything.
And it still works.
And it still works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moisture hasn't killed it yet.
I've actually experimented. I'm running 2 different types of speakers now.
Okay.
So I'm using the Google Home and the Alexa speaker.
I am too.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, the Google Homes are spreading like a plague.
Yeah.
as
They're
well.
coming in cereal boxes now.
Well, it's just interesting because you can. I think there is a case where there might be a place for both.
I think so, because if I want to search something on the internet,
Yeah.
Google, hands down.
Yeah.
If I want home automation, for me, Alexa, hands down.
Yeah. And like if you want good knock knock jokes, hands down, Google Home.
That's why you want to buy a Google Home.
The source of dad jokes.
Yes.
Just saying, try it.
Bambi and knock knock jokes.
Try it.
We've learned a lot about AJ today. Okay, so you've got a skill for us, John.
I do. So at least I grew up in Ontario and we used to have lots of thunderstorms. And it was nice to hear that rain and stuff like that when you're going to sleep. We don't get so many thunderstorms in the Vancouver area.
You get a lot of rain, though.
We get a lot of rain,
Yes.
but not so much the thunderstorms.
You're right.
Yeah. So there's actually a skill called thunderstorm sounds.
Okay.
And you can open, you can have Alexa's launch this by saying, Alexa, open thunderstorm sounds, and you'll get some ambient sounds that will help you sleep, help you relax, and block out other sounds, say, while you're meditating.
And freak your dogs out,
Yes.
essentially.
Can I tell you what happened when thunderstorms were in with Bambi?
I think that was a thunder stick, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but so these will all, there's a variety of sounds that plays, and it goes on for about an hour by default, but you can actually have Alexa loop them.
And so how do you evoke it? Do you have to download the skill?
No, you just say open thunderstorm sounds.
So we're going to activate this for people. Hey, Alexa, open thunderstorm sounds.
There you go.
Why did I say hey?
Because you're thinking Google.
Do you know what? When I go into my kitchen sometimes, because I've got my iPhone with me,
Yeah.
I've got a Google Home there, and I also have Sonos with Alexa built into it. I get confused.
Oh, who to talk to?
Who to talk to? Yeah.
Siri, open the fridge.
You know, I've got 3 kids. Sometimes I mix up my kids.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to call them.
Oh, of course.
And now I'm mixing up Siri. I mean, Google. No. I meant Alexa, play
Yeah.
something.
And I bet Alana loves that, your wife.
She hates it.
Yeah,
she hates
because
all
none of
these
it ever
devices.
works when she needs it to.
Yeah, the future is a nightmare for her.
Okay, so the only voice that's recognized in our house is mine. So on the command "Good night, Google," everything, it shuts down all the lights and locks the front door and all that kind of stuff. And then at the very end, it says "Good night, AJ." I'm like, "Good night, Google. I love you."
And how does your wife feel about
She's
that?
not. She's like, "Why doesn't it know my name?" Like,
Oh,
you
she
don't.
cares.
You don't want it to know your name. She's like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't."
But it does.
Oh, you gotta program something in.
Yeah,
Some weird message.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah.
Good night, Leanne. I like what you're wearing.
Just to confirm, your social insurance number is 725.
To be clear, if your smart speaker does ask you for your social security number,
Do not give it.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, that's all the time we have left. You have to listen to our sister show. It's called The App Show. It's on every Sunday here on Global News Radio, CKNW 980, and across the Chorus Radio Network. Tomorrow, we will be talking more about the different streaming services. Also, the government is potentially going to be taxing all our digital and streaming services. We'll find out what that could mean for us. And we're going to have a TikTok lesson.
Do you even know what TikTok is?
I will tomorrow. Want to thank all the folks that helped put the show together. The Get Connected team. You can visit us at getconnectedmedia.com and see our video podcast of the show as well. You can see how handsome or unhandsome we are. This is Mike, AJ, and John logging off for Get Connected. See you again next time.
Good night, Google.
Can I Google?
Good night, Google.